Okay. How y'all doing this evening? I want to please welcome our featured top media outlets and print publications at the top, Bunyan and Hammer Toe Surgeon in the Northeast. She's the CEO and founder of Fix Your Feet, Dr. Yolanda Ragland. Welcome to the show, Doctor. How you doing?
Hello there. How are you? Thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm so glad to be here on this day.
I'm so glad to have you. I've been knowing you for quite a while, and you do some amazing stuff out there, and people need to hear about that. But before I start the show, I want to say happy birthday to you.
Thank you so
Happy birthday.
much.
Happy birthday to Yolanda. Today's her birthday. She came on her birthday. That's very special. Very special.
Always grinding. You gotta keep it moving.
So what you got planned after the show for your birthday?
Oh, family time.
Right.
I'm just gonna hunker down with the fam. I got a home cooked meal waiting for me. A nice cake topped with some goodies.
Okay.
And that's all. Just spending some time with the family. That's the most important thing to me.
Okay. So I would like to thank you for taking your time out your busy schedule to come to the show. It means a lot to the Beat 139. I don't have my full team here, but they're here with me in spirit. And how's your family and stuff like that, and your patients handling the pandemic days?
So my son, he's happier than a pig in slop. I mean, he doesn't have to go to school. He gets to get on the computer to do his schooling, so he's okay with it. The adults, me and my husband, get a little bit of a cabin fever, and then you hear about all the fear, and we're finding out stories about people that are very close to us that have actually passed away. So that's been a little bit taxing, but other than that, we've been handling it.
Yeah.
We've been handling it. I mean, what can you do? You got to keep living. You got to keep moving, and it is what it is.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So we're going to talk about the pandemic a little later on, but let's move right along. So let's jump right into it. So tell everybody where you're from, where you were born.
So I was born in Washington, D.C.
D.C. in that building.
D.C. But I lived my younger lifehood mostly in Montgomery County, Maryland, which borders Washington, D.C. Let's see. I went to school for my high school. I went to Magruder. Go Colonels. And then after I graduated, I did start to go to undergraduate school, but I didn't finish my first semester at Howard University. I had to drop out. I was sick. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I didn't know what was wrong with me, so I basically had to drop out, and it was one of the reasons that compelled me to become a doctor in the first place, was because I had this pain. I had it for a very long time, and then by the time they figured it out, it was something that could have been figured out in about 5 minutes. And truthfully, I think that because I was a young black female and I was complaining of lower abdominal pain, they automatically associated it with being something associated with an STD or something. When at the time I was like, I'm not even sexually active, but I kept going to doctor after doctor after doctor, and they kept testing me for the same old nasty stuff that I know I didn't have. And 2 years later, after the pain goes away, and I think this is something that you guys really need to hear because it's an important background aspect of me. After the pain went away, a lump appeared, but the lump would move.
Right.
And whenever I would go to the doctor, the lump would never present itself.
Was it like over here? Somewhere?
It was in the inguinal, right?
So what do you think, it was like a hernia or something like that?
So this is what I'm leading up to.
Okay.
So it wouldn't appear. It would, and I told them that. I said it comes, it goes. Well, I'm telling them all this stuff. This is when HIV wasn't called HIV, it was called AIDS. This doctor worked me up for every nasty disease that you could possibly think of. No joke. It was like it looked like, to me it looked like a stack of pages, but it was probably like 1 or 2 pages. And when I saw it on his desk, it just said negative, 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 because everything was negative.
Right.
And then finally I said, listen, the lump doesn't appear here. Then he told me, well, it might be cancer, because it might be a swollen lymph node, which we know that lymph nodes don't move around like that, and they're not that big. And so now I'm thinking I'm dying of cancer. Like,
Wow.
you know, I'm just like 19 years old. No, it's 2 years later, so I'm like 20 years old. And finally I said, the lump doesn't appear here, it appears here. And then he goes, oh, that's a hernia. And when he did that, and then they sent me to a general surgeon to get, you know, worked up for surgery. And when I spoke to the surgeon, he's like, well, since I can't see it, it's going to be considered exploratory surgery. And that's all. When I heard exploratory surgery, I said, nah, that's all right. It doesn't hurt anymore.
But did you think about getting like a second opinion?
Well, listen, I didn't even, at that point in time, I was just like, I don't trust any of y'all.
Okay, right.
You understand?
Yeah.
Because when the next one's talking about doing exploratory surgery on my body,
Right.
for something that doesn't even hurt me, it's
Right.
just, you know, it was this mild disfigurement that would come and go.
Right.
You
Found out
understand?
there was a hernia.
Yeah, and I found it was a hernia. I'm like, you know what? If it gets terrible and I got something where you can't see it through, it comes through my clothes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you
Right,
know.
I got
But
you.
nobody's exploring anything on my body.
Right.
Okay.
Sounds a little intense.
Right. So I said that's not happening. And that's when I decided that I need to know what these people know, because I felt like they didn't know anything.
Right.
And you know, a little bit of that's true, because if you're really smart, you know that you don't know anything.
Right.
Really smart people know that they don't know anything.
Right, I got you.
You know, people that think they know everything, those are the dumb ones.
Right.
Okay.
That's true. Yeah.
So I decided to go into it, and then as I've matured and I've grown, and you know, and I've been in this business and I've trained, I realized that the reason that all they had to do was let me drink a glass of water, you know, a couple of glasses of water, let me sit down for 30, 45 minutes and do a sonogram on me, and they could have told me that I had a hernia 2 years prior, but nobody listened to me, and I know from what I've been just going through everything I did to get to this point. I know that it was due to the fact that I was a black female and I was stereotyped. And they even had a convention on about in regards to racism in the healthcare system. And I just touched on this on my last, I had a diatribe before we came in here on Instagram. And I was trying to explain that, racism in the healthcare system is a very, very, very real thing. And what I was explaining to people was that regardless of your socioeconomic status, so all you ballers out there, all you guys that have all that money, you did 10 million in a month, not a year. Let me tell you something. It doesn't matter. You're still going to receive inferior health care to your white cohorts. Okay? And so that's what put me into medicine. I wanted to know what was going on because there was no one in my family that was a medical expert that we could go to ask questions, or at least have somebody else that they can go back and say, okay, this is a person you want to talk to. We didn't have that. So the only thing we had was to trust that these people were going to care about us like they cared about their family. And, being in this profession, and like I said, through the training, I've seen that that's not true. You can't just trust anybody with your body.
You're 100% correct, because I just want to add something real quick. Like a long time ago, when I was a younger guy, I broke my arm in a certain type of way, and they was talking about amputating my arm. And I was like, amputated? You serious?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, no, I'd rather my arm just hang like a dummy. You're not cutting my arm off. So I left the hospital and I just waited, and slowly but surely I started doing a little exercise. And guess what? The nerve, they're not with the physical therapy, I'm sorry. And they were a little rough with the physical therapy, but
that's to get you
my nerves and stuff started to come back.
Yes.
And started to move, and I started getting twitches and stuff. Like, wow. And to make a long story short, after going through the physical therapy and the exercise, this same arm they want to amputate is stronger than my right arm and my right hand. I'm saying this is the same doctors who said amputate.
Right.
Because of what you was talking about.
Listen, they need cases. They need different types of cases. It's amazing. And just to backpedal a little bit on me, I know the lump is no longer there. So I had people telling me saying that your hernia is not going to go away, and I'm just like, I'm going to knock on wood here, but it did. Mm-hmm. It went away, and I know you can't tell right now, but I was an extremely fit person. I was very, very fit, very lean, and I believe because I was so fit back then, and that I did, have a good exercise regimen. I think that was part of the reason why I was able to heal myself.
I have the same story too, because I've been a trainer for like 20 years, so I was always, muscular and fit, play sports. So I guess after I started healing at the time, because I was in the cast for like 14 months. So when I started healing at the time, they said muscle memory, everything started coming back when I started doing light push-ups, and things just started coming back, and then I was back on top of my game,
Yeah. So like I said, so I say a lot of this because I want people to be aware about, who's going to be your doctor. You can't trust everyone. Just thinking about what they wanted to do to your arm you were a young man, and you're still a young man, but I'm just saying that they wanted to amputate your arm, and a lot of times, people need cases. In order for you to get board certified, you have to submit in a number of cases, and they can't all be the same. All right, and so they think, oh, that would be easy sell for you. Let's just amputate his arm, and we can get that number, so we can get our board.
Yeah, he just
so we can
do away with a person.
Yeah. Instead of just legitimately finding somebody who had a mangled arm that got stuck in a meat grinder or something, something like that. Instead of doing that, they want to go ahead and just lop it off.
Push me to the side and do that, and that was it.
So it's very real. It's a real thing, and I don't know who your doctors were and what they look like or whatever. And sometimes that doesn't even matter too, because it's just like the whole cop syndrome, black cop, that doesn't even matter too. It's like when you're in this certain type of sorority or fraternity or whatever, you're supposed to stand by your brothers, that sort of thing. So they do the same thing that their quote unquote brothers do
and
in the field.
Call it minorities too. They treat us a little different sometimes, where they don't think that you have that type of support. Right. Or maybe the insurance is not that strong, just like.
But it doesn't even matter though. You could have strong insurance, and you could have strong insurance. Like I said, the stats show, there are statistics that show that African Americans, regardless of how much money they make, so even if they're on the high end of the spectrum, they are getting less face time with their doctors. They're getting inferior care than their white cohorts. It doesn't matter. So we have to be really careful, because a lot of people think that they're shielded by their money and their wealth, and they're not.
So let me speed it up a little bit. So I did some research, and it says that you have 2 practices, one in New York and one in Maryland.
Yeah.
So how do you split the time? How do you make it happen?
Well, so I initially started to practice in New York City. And then I just decided to start this practice in Maryland, and I said, oh, I'll go down twice a month. Go down twice a month. I'll see patients down there. Excuse me. Originally, when I started the practice in Maryland, I used to do the surgeries in Maryland. I no longer do them in Maryland anymore. I only do them exclusively in New York City. But I still go down to the Washington metropolitan area in Bowie, Maryland, the 207 zip code. That's their number it starts with. But anyway, I go down to Bowie, Maryland once a month now, and I don't do any surgeries there, but I can see the people in that area for their initial visit and for their follow-up visits. So it makes it a little bit easier for, my hometown to have accessibility to me. I wish I could spread that everywhere, but, I'm only one person.
So, we know that you're a successful doctor, right? What hurdles did you personally face, and how did you overcome them?
There were many hurdles I had to overcome. I come from humble beginnings. It's not like I had wealthy parents to completely support me. Not that they didn't give me any support. I did get some support. When I really started going to school, I always say that's when I really started going to school, because I was taking care of myself. I lived on my own since I was 19 years old. So after I had dropped out at Howard University, I was just taking care of myself. I was paying bills. I didn't want to go to school being sick, not knowing, what was wrong with me. So I had taken all that time off, and then I slowly started integrating back into. I did a little bit of community college. I did school here, and then I did a little bit here and there, and then finally I went to the University of Maryland, and that's where I graduated from. Like I said, the things that I did to make sure that I could clear those hurdles, I made some good decisions. I lived in the Washington metropolitan area, which has the National Institutes of Health, which is NIH. It's the mecca of research. It was intuitive to me. If I want to go into biological sciences and medical science, I should get a job there. Yeah. So I used to go up there. This is when it used to be open. Now it's like Fort Knox, and they searching under your car. You used to just walk on there, la la la. You could fly a kite. You could drive through the campus. Can't do that anymore. But I used to just walk on campus and fill out the application, and I'd never hear anything. And finally, there was a job fair at my school. And someone was like, hey, Yolanda, the NIH is over there and nobody's name is on the list. And I just threw everything down. I ran over there. I told the woman, this woman's name was Tony. I still remember her name. I told her my name 10 times. I said, my name is Yolanda Ragland. I'm Yolanda Ragland. Did I tell you that my name is Yolanda Ragland? I just kept saying it over and over and over again. And she set me up with an interview. I lived about 10 to 15 minutes away driving distance from NIH. By the time I got home, there was a message on my answering machine from Tony saying, I don't know what you said to these people, but you got the job. Oh, wow. It was just really, it was amazing. And perhaps it was really difficult to get a job there. I guess it was difficult because every time I submitted my applications the regular way, I never got anything back. But I guess because they were recruiting, I had this kind of like this back door.
Yeah, they say persistence overcome resistance.
You gotta keep pushing forward, and that was probably one of the best things that I ever did, because I did 5 years of research at that place, and no one can ever take that away from me. I did 5 years of research.
So how many years of did you or schooling did you do that was necessary for you to do the research where you at now? So
you do your undergrad, that's 4 years. Then you go to podiatric medical school, and that's another 4 years. And then I did 3 years of residency.
11.
Yeah. And then I went straight, and because of my persistence, I went straight from residency into the private practice that I'm still in today.
Wow, and you have
with no money. Story. I started it with no money.
and that's what we want to hear about too. Doctors want to ask you, what made you venture off out on your own startup, CEO, fix your feet? incorporated. Let's talk about that.
Okay, so and I think that it's important. I know I'm gonna draw this out a little bit, but I think it's important for the viewers out there so you understand, the dynamics of this. So straight out of residency, I made sure I chose a residency program, first of all, that I knew sent their residents to certain ORs that had hotshot surgeons, podiatric surgeons there. I did everything. Anything you need me to go there. You sure? Because I live right around the corner. I can go there. Like I said, the persistence.
Yes,
Yeah. So I finally got in there, and sure enough, I became very friendly with two of the big heavy hitters. One, when I was graduating, just so happened to be looking for an associate at the time. I go in for the interview. He says, I gotta interview some other people, and he goes, there's some other people from your residency program. You're interviewing you and the people I went to residency with. I'm like, okay, go ahead. I said, but I'm gonna be working here. And he looked at me like, I can't believe she just said that. I'm like, go ahead. I know you have to do what you have to do. I said, but I'm gonna be the one that's gonna be in this office. And sure enough, I was the one that was going to be in that came into the office. And so what we proposed, instead of me working for him, I was like an independent contractor. Okay. So everybody just remember, when you're an independent contractor, you are working for yourself. Right. You're not working for anybody else. Mm-hmm. You're not getting a W-2 at the end of the year. They're not taking out taxes. You got
your own health care.
Yeah, you got to do all of that. Yeah. So we did that for a number of years. I showed him, he got me, really fluent with doing a lot of procedures, but then I started showing him like, hey, well, let's do it like this. Let's do it we were complimenting each other. The other thing I was bringing to the table was that he's white and I'm a black female, and he understood the importance of having me there because about 40 to 50% of his clientele were African American women. Mm-hmm. But I still don't think he understood how important it was. So I brought a lot of things to the table which made both of us more money. And then we got to the point where I was just like, you know what? I'm doing a complete entity. We'll be partners. But we'll have our own separate practices in the same.
How did you learn the profession?
What do you mean?
Like
the podiatric profession?
Yeah, did you shadow somebody, or you just like?
Oh, that's from your residency. You get all of your practical training from residency. So yeah, I got all my practical training from residency, and then, like I said, working with this other doctor that I'm still partners with, that's when I really started honing my skills, and now they're my patients, so I have the liberty to choose how I'm going to approach a procedure.
I gotta say something, right? Because when I first met you a while back, and you told me what you do, I was like, what? Remember?
I always get that reaction.
I was like, hold up.
I always get that reaction.
I gotta liven it up just a little bit, because me and her have been cool for a while. Somebody introduced me to her. She's a real cool lady. And when she told me what she did, I said, you do what? She said, I fix feet. Mm-hmm. I said, what you mean you fix feet? So she pulled her phone out and she showed me some of her work. I was like, wow. So the reason why I said that is because African-American women, anything that I know about people that fix anything as far as surgeries, I'm going to keep it real, all surgeries. And it's real, and especially feet, was a black woman. I was like, wow, we got to get you on the show. This is different. Well, talk about that.
Well, that was the whole point of starting the practice. That is exactly what I wanted to do. I had very close associates outside of podiatry tell me, well, why don't you try to get that other market? And I said, why? Mm-hmm. I'm like, black women identify with me. Mm-hmm. They're going to gravitate towards me. And plus, I understand what they're going through. I know how these guys talk when you walk down the street. You could be Halle Berry fine, and if your feet are jacked up, they're gonna talk about you out loud. And I tried to explain that to other like white doctors, and they're like, they say it. I'm like, no, they say it loud enough so the girl can hear it. I said, it's to the point. These women, every single day in my Instagram is a story that if you are outside of the culture and you read it, you will be in such disbelief. How sad, like it's so sad. I've been with my husband for 7 years, he's never seen my feet. My children have never seen my feet. Do you know that's crippling.
It is. I can relate to that because growing up, as a young man, we used to be on it real hard with females. Like, you can have all that Gucci and you can have all that fly outfits and your hair done and nails, but if your toes wasn't looking right, oh man.
That's a problem.
we really talked about that.
Out loud.
Right.
And made sure that they knew. It's like, no, don't come over here with that.
That's why it's like, it's funny, but it's not funny. But at the end of the day, when you told me that you did that, I was amazed. Like, wow, you fixed feet.
Right.
And
the beauty about it, Vern, is that I'm the only one out there I'm the only one out there that's doing it like this. So there's no other African American woman that has a podiatric practice solely dedicated to fixing bunions, hammer toes, and corn removal with a cosmetic result. There's nobody out there that looks like me doing it.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, and so I laugh at these, and I need to be flattered at the same time, because when people emulate you, that means that they admire you. But you've got these other people out there, and I'm just like, I look at, I'm like, it's not even your story. I look at how they try to brand themselves, because they want to duplicate what I'm doing. I said, but if you're a white male or whatever, you can't duplicate what I'm doing, because first of all, you can't even identify to the core group that I'm targeting, even though my procedure is for everybody. I just want to make it clear.
Right.
My procedure is for everyone, and I treat everybody equally. I know if I can get these great results on black skin, I know on the other skin types it's coming out beautifully, because it heals differently. So I know if I can
What do you mean it heals differently?
Well, black skin, Asian skin is more prone to scarring, to keloids, to hypertrophic scars, that sort of thing. So you have to know how to use smaller materials, you have to have certain techniques like a plastic surgeon would use on one's face, that sort of thing. So I know if I can get the nice results. In fact, that's what my whole diatribe was about. Do you know these people think that I have a before and after picture?
Yes.
They swear up and down that the before picture and the after picture are two different people's feet.
That's called hate.
No, but like they really went in. They really went in on it. And I'm just like, but I've transformed the foot so well that they actually believe that I would go so far to deceive them and put two different. Why would I do that?
Because of the color of your skin. You spoke about it earlier.
Yeah, but that's the part that hurt me even more, because when I went on the diatribe, I referred to them as queens. I'm like, because that's what we are. All of us are queens. Why would you want to tear down your sister queen? Why would you do that?
It's called hate.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That was the terrible part about it. But yeah, I always say that I'm transforming lives by transforming feet. I understand what it's like to walk in these ladies' shoes, regardless of your ethnicity, what your cultural affinity is. I understand what it's like to walk in your shoes. So if you're some other guy and you're like, oh, she has this big booming practice, and I want to do the same exact thing, it looks weird when you have a pair of Christian Louboutin sparkly shoes sitting in the corner of your office. You don't wear sparkly Christian Louboutins. Yeah. I do. But I don't have Christian Louboutins. Those are a little bit too expensive. I'm sorry.
Let me ask you a question. So while we're having this interview, can you tell everybody, or can you tell them one of your links, so maybe they can look at the link while we're talking and see what you do?
Oh, yes, sure. So it's real easy. You can go to my website. The website is fixyourfeet.com. You just click on the results gallery. You'll see all the results. The results that I put on there, they go from perfect to slightly flawed, and I do that intentionally so my patients have realistic expectations. So the ones that I call slightly flawed, my patient liked the result. I didn't.
Right.
I'm a tough critic of my own work. I didn't like it. Right. I wanted to do a little bit more, and they were like, I'm happy with this. Did you know what it looked like before? I'm like, yes, of course. So they can go on there you can check me out on Instagram, Fix Your Feet. You can check me out on Facebook as well. It should be under Fix Your Feet or Dr. Yolanda Ragland. I think the Dr. Yolanda Ragland is supposedly a personal, but Fix Your Feet is the business. And I'm on Twitter as well. And we're starting with TikTok pretty soon. I already have the handle.
So there's it's a common myth, but maybe you can elaborate on it, that if your feet can affect your whole body?
I think that if your feet hurt, I think everything hurts. If you know what it's like for a woman to be in a pair of heels, you might understand why women are catty.
I've seen some acts.
Right. So you might understand why we get a little catty. Feet get cramped up in those shoes. Yeah. But it definitely can. And if things are not aligned in the lower extremity, it can knock everything else off in your upper extremity. Right. So you're definitely, and vice versa, for sure.
So how long does a normal procedure take?
Procedures can go up to, I try not to do anything longer than 4 hours. Because we have to put, the foot has to, we have to control the bleeding. Right. And the way we control the bleeding is to put something like a blood pressure cuff around the ankle so that I can work in a bloodless field. And that allows me to do the procedures in an expedited fashion. Yeah.
And what's like a typical healing process time?
So most people will be in a post-op shoe for about 2 weeks with a big bulky bandage, and then after the 2 weeks I take out the stitches, and on the 14th day I'll put somebody in a sneaker type shoe, a Croc, an Ugg, something like that. They might have to size up just a little bit. And then the swelling has to reduce until they get into their regular shoes. But you can get into a sneaker type shoe about 2 weeks after surgery.
So what type of insurance do you take to pay for that type of surgery? Okay,
so I am what they call a non-PAR doctor. So PAR stands for participating. I don't participate in any insurance plans. I'm out of network. Right. But the procedures, even though I do it with a cosmetic result, the procedure is medically necessary, so it can be covered by insurance. And a lot of people have coverage that allows them to venture out of network. So depending on how strong your insurance is, many people can get the procedure done with most of the costs covered by the insurance. Do you have
any names of some insurances that people might can use just in case they're thinking about it?
You know why I'm not going to give you a name in particular? Because it's not about the name. It's about the coverage.
That's what I mean.
So, see, I could have a Blue Cross Blue Shield card, and you can have a Blue Cross Blue Shield card that looks exactly the same.
Right. But the coverage is different.
The coverage is different.
I got you.
So I can't. So even if you work in the same place, because your coworker might have decided to take the same Blue Cross Blue Shield and not have out-of-network benefits. So have something called a straight HMO. And then you could have chose maybe an out-of-network plan, but it might not have been a great out-of-network plan. So, but the cards all look the same. So I don't want to shout out names and have someone say, "Oh, I'm gonna go get that plan," and then they call me up, and then we're like, "No, we can't accept that. Here's your out-of-pocket quote."
So you have to pay everything up front, or do you have payment plans?
We everything is up front. We do have two forms of credit lines, companies that people can apply for a credit line if they want to have the procedure done, because it's not inexpensive. It does cost money. A lot of people, they get upset because they're so accustomed to perhaps what a breast augmentation might be or a liposuction. You have to remember those are soft tissue structures. When you're talking about doing bone surgery, I mean, it is really under the category of orthopedic surgery. So it's bone surgery, there's more risk involved, and so it's not like having a breast aug. It's not like, you know, having a tummy tuck or anything. It's completely different. There's a lot more involved.
So as far as what I was going to ask you, when a person gets the surgery, as far as the results and stuff like that, if they're not happy with the results, do you do it over, or what happens?
Well, I have a lot of patients that come in and they are unhappy with results that they've had from other people, and every single time I do one of those cases, I say, I'm never going to repair somebody else's work again, because it's difficult. It's difficult fixing your own work. So just imagine you got to go behind somebody and you have no idea what they did. You can only speculate what they may have done. But I still do it because, like I said, a lot of these people that come into me, they just remind me, and like I said, regardless of their cultural background, they remind me of somebody in my family, and I'm just like, I want to try to help this person. I really do want to try to help this person. So when I think there's a chance that I can get a decent result out of it, I will. Have I had to repair my own work? Have I had to revise my own work? Of course. If any surgeon that tells you that they don't have to do that is either lying or they don't do a lot of surgery.
So how does the cost work? Does it work far as like the amount of work you need, or is it different? Like if you got corns, it costs this, we got buns, it costs that. How does it work?
Yeah, it goes according to the procedures that you're having done, how many toes are you having done. And I basically use a guideline that Governor Cuomo came up with, this website called fairhealth.org. And it's not just for New York City. Anybody can use this website. And if you ask your doctor what the procedure code is, they can give you the procedure code. You can go in there, you can put your procedure code in, you put your zip code in, because when you get paid, it's based on which zip code you're in. Okay? And it will pop up, it will populate exactly what is reasonable and customary for those procedures. They'll tell you exactly how much it is. They'll break it down. They'll tell you anesthesia. They'll tell you facility fees. It'll put it all out there for you. And we use those guidelines. And I use the 90th percentile because I'm in a different bracket than the average podiatrist. Not that. It's just because of what I do and how in the level of service that I'm providing. And so I just go to the 90th percentile, and those are the numbers that I typically use, and we still give people huge discounts when they're coming out of pocket. Even if you look that up and you say, wow, there's no way I can ever afford that. I would say, give us a call, talk to us, and we'll give you a fair quote.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the work you do in the community.
Some of the work I do in the community? Yeah. So what I've done in the community recently, and I really enjoy doing, is going. I go to schools in the area. So I've been to, and I want to make this more of a circuit type of thing. So I'll go back to the school that I graduated from, which is the New York College of Podiatric Medicine, which is on 125th and Park. And I'll go in and speak to either the women's organization, or they have a minority association, and I'll go there and speak to them and explain to them what the climate of medicine is like. Try to get them to start thinking like entrepreneurs. I've done that as well at Toro College, which is a predominantly minority-based school. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's a historically black graduate school, but I know it's definitely minority-based. And so I go back and let them know that, listen, hey, you can be a person that comes from humble beginnings, taking out loans, and still get out there and be at the top of your game. Don't let anything discourage you. Don't worry about being top 10 percentile. Worry about graduating.
Right.
Okay? If you got to medical school, all you got to do finish.
Right. That's right.
Just finish, graduate, walk across the stage.
Right.
Okay? And then and then the other thing is just start thinking like an entrepreneur. If you don't think that you think like an entrepreneur, then I don't know, buy the magazine. Figure out something. Start thinking like an entrepreneur, because it doesn't matter what you're gonna do out here. If you're not thinking like an entrepreneur in any facet, in any business, you're not gonna make it. You're just gonna be a worker.
Right. So whatever happened with the Christmas tree thing?
What Christmas tree thing?
I think didn't we talk about was it you or it was Raymond was talking about getting the Christmas tree lighting?
Oh my goodness!
It was.
You know what? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, so our mutual friend Raymond Lewis hosts the Harlem Christmas tree lighting, and I did speak at that.
Well, by Cecil's, right?
Yeah, Cecil has done it for the last couple of years, and you know what? Everything has just gotten the surgical business just went crazy on me. I don't know. It was just like the popcorn got hot. It started bubbling over. Right. So that got crazy with me. And you're right, we have to circle back to that, because we should do a bigger Christmas light.
Remember, I was talking about I wanted to go to the state building, because I felt that, this is when we had the conversation, I felt that the Christmas tree lighting should be at the Harlem State Building.
I don't know if you can do the Christmas tree lighting at the Harlem State Building, because it is the state building. Remember, Church and State?
You spoke about that.
Yeah, so I think that even though they do put a tree there,
location.
Yeah, I know, but because they put, I think that. Because
did you
remember
see the tree that they had?
It was horrible. It was embarrassing. It was really embarrassing. I mean, they could have at least put a big, gigantic, pretty tree there, and they don't have to call it a Christmas tree. They can call it a holiday tree
and
put them
the bulbs and the lights on.
But you know what? There is a way around it. You can just say that it's a holiday celebration, and you just have to omit the word Christmas. I think it's something that we should circle back around on, and I don't know if you know your people, and then definitely with Raymond, because I think you're right. I think that spot is perfect. They do concerts there during the summer. Why not do something? I mean, everybody else has it. Rockefeller Center, Lincoln Center,
exactly
Lincoln Center. Everybody has their
and
Christmas tree
everybody rides up on 25th Street.
Everybody's on the 125. They changed the lights this year, which were really pretty.
Yeah. And then they had the Grand Marshal come up and down on 25th Street, right? I think Dapper Dan was the Grand Marshal one year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Okay.
They roll, before they turn the lights on. They ride down and they play music, and Dapper Dan was up there and stuff like that. So if you're using 125th Street to
so why wouldn't they just stop
why
right
wouldn't
there?
You have a decent tree that everybody go past the street? That's all I'm saying.
The tree was embarrassing.
Yeah, it was. So is there anything else that the viewers don't know about that we didn't touch on, that you're doing now?
Let's see. V.
Yeah.
Anything I should let them know? I got my right hand girl here.
Yeah, there's another V in the building.
She always remembers stuff that I should say. She's like, oh, you should have said this. Well, I'm working on my product line, so you guys need to look out for that.
Where can they find it?
Well, we're trying to get the manufacturer. I'm trying to make sure that the ingredients are up to my standards.
Mm-hmm.
I found who I want. I found the manufacturer for my antifungal nail treatment,
Mm-hmm.
and then the first product that I'm going to launch is going to be an exfoliator for the bottom of your feet, so you
Right.
can have feet that feel like babies' feet.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be something that you put on there. You put it on. You do it about a week before you go on your cruise or wherever it is that you're going,
Right.
and then the skin will slough off that week. And by the time it's time for you to go, you're gonna have these nice, smooth, soft baby feet.
I'm sure a lot of people can use that.
Yeah, I'm sure they can.
Can you tell everybody your social media links?
So, like I said, my Instagram is Fix Your Feet. Facebook is Fix Your Feet. YouTube is Dr. Yolanda Ragland. Twitter is Fix Your Feet Inc.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and those are the big ones. And then TikTok is Fix Your Feet as well.
Okay. So I just want to thank you again for coming to the show, and I also want to say happy birthday once again.
Thank you.
I don't want to take up all your time this evening because it is your birthday.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
And I appreciate you coming through. And can you tell them what podcast show you're on tonight?
Oh, this is The Beat 139.
There it is, The Beat 139. I'm going to clap for you. Thanks for coming to the show. We got your girl, V. She's in the building. She's showing a lot of love right now. She's paying attention.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah, and you know what, guys? Guess what else?
What's up?
I'm working on a show.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
What's the name of the show?
We kind of we're playing around with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I'm your Dr. Foot Fixer, but it may be Dr. Foot Fixer. It might be Fix Your Feet. It may be. It's gonna have the foot and fix in it.
Like a documentary type of thing?
Like I said, we're